Hey everyone, thanks for joining me today. I have been taking a break for a couple of weeks from our episodes, so it's really good to be back. Last week was spring break for my son, and so my family took a big long road trip from Texas up to the Smoky Mountains. We went to Kentucky and Tennessee, and it was really great. It was a great break for us and back at work today, or this week rather. So it's been a busy week, but I was excited to get back to doing episodes with you guys. So today I want to talk about choices and kind of how choices play a role in our lives. So, I was actually having a conversation with a family member about this, and we were talking about just, people we know and, talking about people we haven't seen in a long time and how they're doing and thinking about kind of what some people have been through, what we've been through, and how far we've come, how people have grown, how people have changed since the last time we saw them, and just kind of how we've changed over the years. And so we were talking about, what happens when you go through something really difficult and how that affects who you are today. And, we've talked about that in these episodes. I've talked to you about identity development and choices that you make along the way and decisions based on experiences and life's experiences and how those affect who you are. Well, kind of what we were talking about that stuck with me was just the idea of choices and how we, I think for individuals, for me, the decisions that I make play a big role in, the control that I have in my life. So if I make a good choice, then something good usually comes from that. If I make a bad choice, then something maybe that's not fantastic is going to happen. Sometimes we make good choices intentionally, sometimes it just happens, and sometimes we make bad choices without realizing they're bad choices. Sometimes we just don't give it thought and it happens. But the idea that I want to focus on with you is that every day, every single day of your life, you have an opportunity to make choices that can make your situation better. Every single day. There's no day where you can say, well, today's not a good day for choices, or, I don't have opportunity to make choices today. No, every single day of your life from here on out, what's done is done. The past, sitting and thinking about the past and the choices you could have made, there's really just no good to that. There's nothing that will come of that that will serve you or help you in your future. If you need to look back at old decisions that you've made and learn from that, that's fine. But if you sit in that too long, then you get stuck in the kind of just the what ifs, and if I had done this, it would have been so much better. Like, that's just not helpful for the future, other than just to learn things from it and take it. But the key to that working is that you have to stop, pull yourself out of reflecting on the past to take what you've learned and now move it forward with you. So you bring that past experience or those memories or regrets or whatever, you have to bring them forward, carry them forward to be able to then do something helpful with that and apply that to future decisions. So our focus is from this moment on, you have to look at your life every day as every day giving you the opportunity to make a different choice or make a choice that will be good for you. It could be a choice that you've been repeating every day because it's a good choice, like choosing to wake up and, eat breakfast and exercise, or, contact a friend, or, just make healthy decisions for yourself. If you've been doing that every day and you want to continue those choices, those are great repetitive choices. But my challenge to you is to look at your life and decide, are there better choices I can be doing or making today that would make today better? Now, some of the choices we make today will set a good foundation for future days, and some decisions and choices we make today will only affect today. That's just really, life is filled with both of those. So, it's whatever you've got going on is what you've got going on. But the idea is every single day has the opportunity for you to make better or different choices. That's what I want you to focus on, because what happens a lot of the time is that people get stuck in kind of defining themselves based on those past experiences. Like, well, I've always struggled with this. It's never going to get better, so I might as well just learn to accept it. Or, grew up in a home that was very, let's say if you grew up in a home that was very abusive, or, yelling always happened in your home. If you've decided, well, that's just how I was raised, that's how I'm going to raise my kid. It worked on me. My parents spanked me. It worked on us, so I'm going to spank my kids. Or, my parents yelled at me and cussed at me, and so if I do that to my kids, well, that's just how I was raised. So I'm not, you just have to accept that that's my upbringing. That's how I was taught, and so you can't fault me for being that way now. Well, I mean, the nice way for me to tell you that that's not accurate is to say, well, is that working for you? I could be harsher and say, well, that's crap, but some people need to hear that. But for you, like, is that working for you? Just because you've always done something a certain way, or just because something was done to you a certain way, doesn't mean you need to perpetuate that negative cycle. If it's working, okay, as long as it's not hurting anyone or anything, then fine, keep it up. But if it's not working and you have people in your life telling you, hey, when you do this, it, hurts me or makes me upset, or hey, this is really causing a problem in our relationship or whatever, then you have to look at yourself and decide, is that working? And if not, what kind of better choice can I make today? And so in part, this is a call out of like, hey, stop making the same bad choices over and over again. But in another way, this is a really empowering message, because I want you to know that today can be the day that you make choices that give you more control over your life. Because chances are, if you're making decisions that aren't impacting your life in a positive way, then you're probably feeling some kind of heaviness or frustration or upset or something about it. And that's probably not giving you a super high quality of life. Like, you probably don't feel fantastic. And so if you give yourself that knowledge and that acceptance that you can make better choices today, that doesn't matter what you've been through, it doesn't matter where you've come from. If you want to do it differently today, you can do it differently. Then that's empowering. I think, to me, that's a whole lot of control that I take back. If I feel like I'm just caught up in the whirlwind of the stress of my week and clients and life and traffic and whatever things come up that might throw a wrench in my life, well, that sucks, and we just have to roll with those things. But if there's something I can do for myself, whether it's a change in my attitude, change in my behavior, a change in my environment that I can make, all of that gives me control and can have an impact. I may not be able to control the other things that happen that I can't affect, but I sure can control the things that are in front of me that I recognized are in my control. So that's different for everyone. And I think a lot of the time when people come to counseling, and we talk about hardships that are going on or frustrations that are going on, I can't do anything about the fact that maybe a family member passed away, or that you lost your job, or that your kid is being defiant and you don't know what else to do. I can't step into your house and help you with that, but what I can do is give you guidance on how to help yourself. But more importantly, I can help you figure out what in your life you can do differently to help you throughout your day. I can give you tips and help you come up with ideas of how to take care of yourself better. Like, if you are exhausted because work is wearing you out, well, okay, well, I can't do anything about the workload that you have, but what can we do to support you at home? Do you need to do better with going to bed earlier and making sure you're eating better? Do you need to spend less time on social media so you're spending more time with your family, and then you're spending time going to bed early? Whatever. Those are super, super simple examples, but I'm not going to pull out some really complex psychological example for you. But it's the little things sometimes that can support the bigger things. People get stuck in the broken record of, well, I'm always tired, or I'm never, happy, or I'm always anxious. Well, all right, let's break it down and let's figure out how you can make your day a little bit more manageable or structured or organized, or just better self-care, so that when you have to go and do these bigger things, well, your foundation is better. You've started your day out in a better way. You've interacted with your family in a more positive way. You've set boundaries with certain people the way you need to, so that you're not overwhelmed And then when you go and deal with this bigger thing, you have a little bit more to give because you've taken care of yourself in these other ways. And then you can think of these choices to apply, we can apply them to bigger things like, is there someone in your life that you need to make a decision to distance yourself from? Or is there something in your career or your professional life that isn't working for you and you really need to start considering looking for other options? Do you need to start looking for a different job? Do you need to have a conversation with a boss about something where you need to advocate for yourself? Do you need to sit with your kids and have serious conversations about their behavior? Or do you need to take ownership of a parenting thing you're doing wrong and you need to talk to your kid through that? Like, whatever it is that you need to do that's going to improve the quality of your life, improve the quality of your relationships, your behaviors, you need to do that, because all too often people just get stuck in the whiny and complaining phase of not being where they want to be in life. And I'm not saying that to disrespect you if you are that kind of person. I'm saying that to encourage you to try to push through that. You know, if there are things in your life that aren't going well and you're just stuck in the resentful, bitter phase of it where all you can do is just look at it and be unhappy, well, I'm here to tell you that there is more that you can do. The specifics of that are going to depend on your situation, but there's always something you can do to improve even just 1% of your day. It may not be that your decisions are going to change the outcome of this massive thing going on, but it can make a change in the smaller parts of your life that can support your sanity and your mental health so that you can then handle that bigger thing better. And then, even bigger than that, if you are looking back at your past and there are some serious struggles in there, if there's trauma or some kind of just situation that really led to you having a more difficult life, whether you have serious mental health problems or you've experienced loss or abuse or something, that all affects who you are and how you interact with your world today. But if you're the kind of person that is very much defined by your bad experience, that is a really, really big choice that I want you to think about today. When you think back to our identity series and we talked about how those things affect who we are, it's so important to make sure that we're also not defined by certain experiences. If you've been through a trauma and you kind of perceive that trauma as being the most significant thing that's ever happened to you, then very likely you identify as a traumatized person. And everything you do, everything that you experience, or every behavior that you take with interactions with other people might very well be filtered through being a traumatized person. So the key is to look back at that and say, you know what? I don't want to be defined by this anymore. I don't want that to be the thing that just defines who I am as an individual. I don't want to be a traumatized person anymore. I want to be a person who has experienced trauma in my past, who is very much affected by it, but who's going to choose to try to find other things in life to have purpose, meaning, and joy. So I'm going to have to deal with that if I haven't already dealt with it, and go maybe get some support and some therapy and address my trauma. But I need to shift my focus to where I try to find purpose in my life today. What can I do to be a happier person, to be a less sad or removed, like isolated, anxious, bitter, whatever your feeling is? What is it that I can do to focus on how to have more quality of my life today, invest in my relationships and friendships and just things that make me feel good about myself, things that make me happy? How do I shift my focus instead of being defined by this trauma or by this bad experience or this hardship, and focus instead on how do I make choices today? And for some people, they can do the work and really kind of flip things around in their perception of themselves and move forward to live very healthy lives where they're not having to work too hard every single day. Like, they do a whole lot of work up front and then it's easier. And there are some people that have to work hard every single day, but it's worth it. If you wake up and you have that mindset that, you know what, here's my goal, here's the mindset that I want to stay in, here's the that frame of mind that I want to look at life through, then that will be a little bit of work every day, but it will be worth it because every day you get to experience a happier existence. And you might have to do that every single day, but it gets easier over time. Practice makes perfect. The longer you do it, the harder you work at it, the easier it becomes. You don't have to work at it as much, but you might be in a situation where you have to invest a little bit of time every day in taking care of that so that you are happier. But, I think as people, we are, I don't know, we like the easy way out. If I have the option to work really, really hard at something and I'll feel better, or I can not work really, really hard at something and just be okay. A lot of people are going to take that like, well, I don't need to be great. I just want to be okay. So this is enough. But you have to decide, is it really enough? Is the way that you're doing it working for you? Are you as happy as you want to be? And if you're the kind of person that's like, well, no one's really that happy, so I might as well just accept where I am. Well, I want to challenge that because I think you do have the capacity to be really happy. You're not going to be 100% happy every moment of every day. But yeah, more often than not, you should be pursuing things in your life that make you happy because that's just what we do. We do things that we enjoy, and sometimes we have to do things that we don't like, but we should hopefully have something somewhat good shortly after that so we can kind of fulfill a need or a desire that makes us feel good. And so, your job for yourself is to pursue things that make you feel good, is to make choices that support your family and your health and your just general existence. It's not about being selfish and doing things just for yourself. It's about living a whole life that is filled with good things, but also the ability to deal with the bad things. Bad things are going to happen no matter what you do. They're going to come up. But if you create this system where you get in the habit of trying your hardest to make good choices that help you be happier, help you look at your life differently, help you not be a negative person or a cynical person, then you have a stronger foundation today for tomorrow, and then tomorrow for the next day. It just builds on itself, but you are responsible for that. And if you are the kind of person that looks to your past and blames someone for something that happened to you, I want you to really consider, is that working for you today? Yeah, there's maybe some responsibility that someone plays in your past for things that were done to you, but today you can't live under that. You can't use that as an excuse to be an injured person. You have to look at that and say, you know what, that is a part of my story and that's a part of my past. It will always be a part of my past, but it is not a defining part of my identity anymore. I don't want it to be. So what am I going to do today to find a way to make peace with that, to heal from that, whether I can do that by myself or I need to get therapy? And then what am I going to do to really work to modify my perception of my life and the people in it today? And that might come with boundaries that you have to put with certain people. It might come with changes in your environment that you need to make. But whatever it is that you need to do, you need to work on that because life is too short to live in regret or to blame other people or to be a victim or live in the victim mentality. Today is an opportunity to make a choice that's going to make today better. And if you do that every day, you build on it and every day becomes a little bit better. Some days are still hard. Some days are easier than others, but we never quit. We don't quit. If you have a quitting mentality, I need you to work on that because that's just a waste of time. It's a waste of life. Everyone has the potential to live a higher quality, happier life. You have that capacity. You deserve that. You are worthy of that. There is no one that is not worthy of that. And there are a lot of people who do have trauma background, who struggle with self-worth and don't think that they deserve certain things. This is me telling you, it doesn't matter who you are, you deserve to pursue a higher quality of life, to make choices today that make you a happier person and that make you a better person for the people that love you and care for you and that you're in relationships with. So I hope that gives you something to think about. I hope it challenges you to to look at your day differently, to look at yourself differently, to give you that control and that empowerment that I want you to feel. All right. Well, I hope you all have a great rest of the week, and I'll see you next time. Bye.